So we've finally seen Doctor Strange.
Finally, after some banging trailers, we finally got to see this film.
And here's what we thought of it.
Wow. Teach me.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
So, Doctor Strange is our next Marvel film. It's the last Marvel film we'll be receiving this year. It's directed by Scott Derrickson that did Sinister and Deliver Us from Evil.
Yep.
And basically this film is about the Sorcerer Supreme, Dr. Stephen Strange, who basically is a hyper wealthy doctor who's very arrogant, is very Tony Stark type of guy, who gets into an accident, causes him to not be able to do his job anymore, so he goes on a path of enlightenment to try to heal himself and ends up, well,
finding the Ancient One with Tilda Swinton. We've got a few others there. We've got Chiwetel Ejiofor, we've got Benedict Wong, we've got Rachel McAdams along the way. We've got Mads Mikkelsen. It's a hell of a cast, a stellar cast.
All of them do a great job.
Stellar
This is one of the best acted Marvel films we've seen. Like, seriously, the performances are excellent, particularly from Rachel McAdams and Benedict Cumberbatch. Like,
their chemistry is incredible, and you believe their relationship, and you want more of it. I really wanted to see more.
I almost think, like, for me, almost as much as all this crazy stuff that was going on in the film, the best parts of it for me were really the scenes that they were kind of together. Like, for me at least, that's what I thought. I
100%.
Really thought they
That's the thing this film needed. It needed great actors because you need that emotional investment from the beginning. And it did get there. And the thing is, when he does have his accident, I really was emotionally invested. And I felt for this guy. And they portrayed that part really well because it is cruel. It's real hardcore what happens to him. And they don't settle down the violence in this film as well. And I think that's a big thing. Let's just start off. I mean, Marvel fans out there, fans of the MCU, fans of comic books, you're going to love this film.
You're going to really enjoy it.
Because you finally get to see magic on screen.
All
you finally get to
extra-dimensional
see
stuff.
this multiverse, you finally get to see all these weird crazy things going on, and they do really, really well, and it's handled with great VFX.
And I think, that's the main draw card here, is that people have seen these really trippy visuals, which we're not going to call Inception-like because they're not. This is kaleidoscopic style visuals that are really, really fantastic for the most part. Like, there's some really excellent sequences, particularly towards the end. There's stuff that happens in reverse, they start playing with time. Really, really great stuff. So obviously the visuals in the trailer are really, really fantastic, and that does carry across into the film. The thing is that the trailers aren't really Marvel in tone. Well, I guess Marvel's trailers usually are a lot more serious than the films end up being. Now, this isn't a flaw at all, but for us it was a little bit unexpected, like when the film opens with the villain introduction and then it works its way back like that. It was a lot more Marvel than I think a lot of us out there are going to be expecting. A lot of people who said they've been sold on the film because of it being, have this different vibe. It's still very Marvel. The comedy is thick. There's a lot of comedy. It's all really good. We thought it all works really well, but it makes for a really different type of film,
Yeah,
I guess.
100%. I mean, like, when we watched those trailers, we were kind of like, we were in a bit of a shock because they were so dramatic and were so serious. It was totally different. So the film being a bit more comedic, it was just kind of off-putting, but it wasn't so bad. I mean, it was different. I mean, like, the soundtrack was there. It was nowhere near as good as the trailer.
Yeah.
I mean,
it didn't have that pump. It didn't have that momentum, I guess, because quite often, and that's something that Marvel films always have. Some people love it, some people hate it. We don't really mind. It's one of those things where the film doesn't have this excellent momentum because it so often stops to put a joke in. And I guess that's fine because the jokes in this film pretty much always work.
Yeah,
so it's all good. But you just end up with losing a bit of that flow, and I guess without the soundtrack.
Exactly, and it's kind of just in comparison, it's kind of like, well, you kind of had this and you had this Marvel film, and it's kind of like, I don't know, I think watching it, we kind of ended up wanting something that was a bit more dramatic, that could sort of carry it a bit further, because, I mean, look, they do convince you, and they do hit those, like, emotions hard, and
I mean, it's a good movie.
Yeah, and to convince you that, like, to believe in this multiverse and what they're trying to achieve and all these weird and wacky things that are going on, they do so well to convince the audience there, but I think they could have just gone like a little bit further.
And I guess working off that idea, the whole thing about believing in the world, this is the first time we're seeing this world. This is the first time we're seeing this part of the Marvel Universe. It's also the first time that the main character has seen it. So the reason why we both avoid that Inception comparison is because in Inception, Nolan has a great way of anchoring the audience with characters. So when Ariadne first goes into that world, it's all off the shoulder. We're seeing these things from perspective as it's happening, almost like it's first person. This had a lot of neutral shooting where we just kind of see things happening and it cuts up. I wish it had taken its time to make us feel like we're there more, almost in a way like The Revenant, actually getting you grounded and making you feel like you're there. So then you're like, holy shit. A lot of it was quite neutral.
Exactly.
Still, spellbinding. Some of the best action sequences I've seen. Definitely some of the best fight choreography I've seen in superhero films. Hands down.
And you still sit there, and these VFX are mind-blowing to watch and well worth seeing in 3D
and I
as
really,
well.
definitely worth seeing in 3D, and I also really hope that this film picks up Oscar nominations for visual effects and potentially wins, because aside from like Rogue One, this is definitely the best visual effects I've seen this year. Really, really is excellent.
Quite unreal.
I guess that's all there is to say about it for now. We will do a spoiler review where we break down kind of the plot a little bit more.
And really sort of discuss like other options they could have looked at and get into further details, because it's hard. We're really restraining ourselves here without talking too much more to spoil it for you guys, because we want to restrain ourselves so you guys can get the best experience.
But the most important thing is that this is a good movie. It's one of the best movies we've actually seen this year. It is definitely worth seeing. It is worth your money, and I highly doubt you won't have a good time.
100%. If you're a Marvel fan of anything, if you're a superhero fan, if you're a Benedict Cumberbatch fan, you're gonna enjoy this.
I think you just enjoy it anyway. I think it's a hard film for literally anyone not to enjoy it.
Hell of a film, well worth seeing in 3D, well worth seeing in a cinema. Make sure you go check this out.
And that for me is why it's an 8.2 out of 10.
And for me, it is also an 8.2.
Oh, there we are. Done deal.
And so I cry sometimes when I'm lying in bed just to get it out of what's in my head. And
So that was our review of Doctor Strange. Have you seen it yet?
Did you like it?
Did you hate it?
Did you like this video?
Of course you did.
Crave more Banter?
If so, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel down there somewhere.
You can also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter, all at Breaking Banter.
What is that sound?
Just something.